Hello, it's Harry here. So in this video, I want to show how to use ODS RTF to create a table for clinical studies. We're going to use the dataset class from sets help. So let's take a look at the dataset first. Okay, so you can see it's a small data set. It has 19 records and 5 variables. I'm going to do a small change on the data set. I'm going to add a new variable called region. Okay, if I just run the program like this, it's not going to work because the variable region will be truncated. So we need to have a length statement here. Okay, now let's run the program. So you can see the region variable is added. Okay, we're going to use a proc report to display the data. So let's do proc report. And we want to use the headline and head skip option. Okay, then we have the columns statement. We have region name, sex, age, height, and weight. Okay, and then we want to use a define statement. So let's do region. Okay, and the name. Okay, so finally let's add the ODS RTF statement because we are trying to show how to use ODS RTF to create tables. So let's do file equal to. I will send the file to this directory. ODS RTF close. Okay, so let's save this program first. C drive, let's do reporting. Let's call this report 1. Okay, and then we save it. Okay, so let's do a batch run of this program. So we're gonna go to CMD. And we do cd/d. Okay, says report1.says. Okay, so now let's open the file. Okay, so you can see this is the output. So this still we need to make a lot of changes in the program. So first of all, we don't want the table in a clinical study to look like this, so we must add a style to the ODS RTF. So let's do that. Okay, so I'm going to copy some code here. Okay, so this is a macro called custom. So this macro gives us a style called custom, and so we just added it here. Okay, another thing is we need to have some options in the sets program. So when we create table, we want the orientation to be a landscape. So let's add the options. Also, we don't want to show the date and the page number because we're gonna take care of the page number ourselves. So let's use the option no date and no number. Alright, so let's save the program and then we run the program again. Okay, so let's take a look at the output. Okay, so you can see it's better than before. There's a title here, the set system. We need to get rid of that title. And also, we need to increase the width of the table because now it's using a very small space. So let's do that. Okay, to get rid of the title, we can add a statement here. Okay, to take care of the width, we need to do something on the proc report. Okay, so first let's define some macro variables. So in this table we have six variables. So let's define num call. So that's the total number of the columns. Let it equal 6. Okay. Now we define another macro variable called the tot width. So this is the total width of the table. Let it be 8.8. Okay. Now we can define the width for each variable in the proc report. So we need some statement like this. I'm going to copy some code here. Okay, so this statement specifies the style for the column and the style for the header, and we are using this function %syseval_f to calculate the width of this column. So we are using the total width divided by the number of columns. Okay, so let's do the same thing for every variable here. Okay, now let's save the program and let's run the program. Okay, let's take a look at the output. Okay, so you can see it's getting better. It's getting better. One thing we notice is the age, height, and the weight. They are not displayed properly, the column header. So we need to fix that. And also we can add a title and a footnote. So let's do those two things. Okay, so to fix the header, we can do it here. For the age, height, and weight, let's change it to justify equals right. Oh, here I have 2 semicolons, so let me delete one of them. Okay, so now let's add the titles and footnotes. I'm going to copy some code here. Okay. So let's see, this is title 1, title 2. Okay, so here in title 1 you can see we have the table number and title. We have another title here. In the footnote we have this RTF code. This is for a horizontal line. And in order for this horizontal line work, we need to have the ODS escape chart. So let's add that line. Okay, so I'm gonna add it here. Okay, and the second footnote, it's referring to the program name and some macro variables. So here I'm using some system macro variables: sys date, sys time, sys version, and the sys platform. Okay, so let's run this program. I'm gonna save the program here and let's run it. Okay, so let's take a look at the output. Okay, so now you see we have the title, we have the footnote, and the headers are adjusted. It's pretty good. Another thing I want to mention is that in clinical studies, usually we will have a title in the top that shows the company name and the page number. So let's do that. Okay, so we need a title like this. So I'm gonna add this title here. Okay, and this will be title 2, title 3, and here's the company name. We do a justify equals left, and here we have the page number. Okay, so let's run this program. Okay, so we have the title there. The next change I want to make is on this column, the region. Because there are 3 regions, USA, Europe, and Australia, I want to show the group option in prog report. So we can add a group option here. Okay, so after we use the group option, the value of each region should be printed only once. So let's save the program and do a batch run. Okay, so now you can see each value is printed only once for the region. Okay, so the next thing I want to show is the computer block. Suppose we don't want to show this region as a column. We are going to print out the value for the region, but we only want to keep the other 5 variables as columns. So let's see how we do that. Okay, so I'm going to delete the thing here. And here I'm going to use group no print. So I'm not going to print this region as a separate column. Okay, then I'm going to use a compute block. So we can do compute. Okay, so I'm going to copy some code here. Okay, so here we're doing compute before region, and then we show the value of the region, and we do a compute after region, and we show a blank line. Okay, another change we need to make is that is the number of columns. So here we're only displaying 5 columns now, so we have to change this to 5. Okay, so now let's save the program, and we run the program. Okay, let's take a look at the output. Okay, so here is the output. So you can see we have the region Australia here, and there is a blank line after the region for Australia, and then we have the region for Europe here, and the region for USA. But it doesn't look nice because there's no indentation here. So what we're going to do next is to add an indentation for the name. Okay, so let's do that. We're going to use a computer block to add the indentation. So let me copy some code here. Okay, so this code is used to add indentation on the name column. So let's save the program, and we can do a batch run. So let's take a look at the table. Okay, so now you can see we have the indentation. The table looks much nicer. Another thing I want to show is how to add headers over multiple columns. So here, suppose I want to add a header over the sex and age, and we want to add another header over the height and weight. This is kind of a contrived example, but it serves the purpose. So let's do that. So in order to add a header over multiple columns, we have to change the columns statement. So let me show how we can do that. Okay, so we're gonna need this one. So we add a header sex and age over the columns sex and age, and then we add a column. We add a header height and weight over the variable height and weight. Okay, so let's delete this variable here and let's run the program. So this is not gonna work perfectly, but let's take a look at output first. So let's do a run, and here's the output. So you can see we got the header here, but unfortunately the horizontal line for the two headers are connected, and we don't want to have that. We need to separate the horizontal line here. So we need to add another variable to the class dataset, and then we use that variable to break this horizontal line. Okay, so let's do that. So what we are going to do is to have another variable here. Let's call it call1. Okay, and then we use this call1 to add to break the horizontal line. We need to add some code here. Okay, let me copy the code. Okay, so here you can see we have this border bottom color equals white. So we're going to use this to break the horizontal line. And here, because we're having this new column, we have to do a define. So let's do that. Okay. Okay, so the cell width, let's change the cell width to just 0.2. Okay, and now the total width is no longer 8.8 because we're using this 0.2 for this call1. Oh, sorry, this should be call1. So we also need to change the label for the column call1. So we change it to blank. Because we're using this width equal to 0.2 for this column, we have to change this 8.8 to 8.6. Okay, so now we are ready. Let's save the program and we do a batch run. So let's go here. I need to copy the path of this folder. Okay. We do a batch run of the program. Okay, so let's look at the output. Okay, so now it looks good. The horizontal line is broken here, and the table looks fine. Okay, so I think that's all I want to talk about in this video. I'm going to put the related materials in my GitHub account, and I will leave a link in the description of this video. If you think this is helpful, give it a thumbs up and consider subscribing. Thank you.